Everything the Empire promised, its power, its eternity, its absolute order comes crashing down in the season finale of Foundation Season 3. The dream of immortality through cloned rulers shatters, leaving behind only fear, betrayal, and the shadow of a greater danger yet to come. But how exactly did this collapse happen? And why does it matter for the galaxy's future? Let's break down the fall of Empire. Piece by piece, the finale of Foundation Season 3 gives us something the series has been hinting at from the very beginning, the idea that no empire, no matter how powerful, can last forever. Throughout the season, we've watched cracks spread through the perfect facade of Cleon's dynasty. In Episode 10, those cracks finally widen into an unstoppable collapse. What makes this fall so powerful is not just the loss of political control, it's the collapse of belief. The aura of invincibility around the Empire dissolves, and with it, the galaxy begins to shift toward something new. At the heart of this collapse is the failure of the Cleon clones to hold together their own unity. For generations, the concept of day, dawn, and dusk, three versions of the same man at different ages, was meant to project stability. But what we've seen in this season is the opposite. Each clone has grown increasingly individual, increasingly rebellious. Dawn has wanted love and freedom. Dusk has longed for dignity and legacy. And Day, the most aggressive of them, has carried his own ambition so far that it destroyed the very balance their system needed to survive. Episode 10 forces us to confront the truth. The idea of an eternal dynasty was doomed the moment individuality entered the mix. The political downfall plays out in a way that mirrors Hari Seldon's predictions. We've been told countless times that empires don't die in a single day, they unravel. Their weakness is compounding until a final blow tips the scales. That's exactly what happens here. Day's actions ignite unrest, but it's the betrayal within his own ranks that finishes the job. Allies who once stood loyal now see that the throne no longer guarantees protection. The aura of fear that once held the galaxy together is gone. Without it, even the smallest rebellion grows into a movement too large to control. What's fascinating about the finale is how it shows us both the grand scale of Empire's collapse and the intimate pain of the characters trapped inside it. Day, for all his cruelty and arrogance, isn't simply a villain. He's also a man who realized too late that he has been living in a lie. His entire life was shaped by the illusion that he was eternal, that the Empire was unshakable. When that illusion falls, what's left of him is desperation. It's tragic in a way, because his arrogance and pride push him into decisions that accelerate the end, even when part of him fears the collapse. Dawn and Dusk, too, face their own unraveling. Their arcs remind us that they were never truly free, never truly themselves. The collapse of Empire is also their personal collapse, because without the throne, what is their identity? For Dawn, it is the end of his dream of escape. For Dusk, it is the end of his hope for lasting respect. The finale doesn't just destroy the throne, it destroys the men who sat upon it. And yet, the most powerful part of this fall is its symbolism. For the galaxy, the fall of Empire is not just political, it's psychological. Billions of people across worlds who once bowed to Cleon's image now see weakness instead of strength. That shift in perception is the true ending of Empire. Because power, in the end, is never just about weapons or armies. It's about belief. When belief collapses, no force can rebuild it. In this way, the finale leaves us with a haunting image, the eternal empire crumbling into dust. Its rulers exposed as fragile men, its aura of fear stripped away. Hari Seldon's vision of the fall has come true, and the galaxy now stares into the unknown. But just as one power dies, another begins to rise. The Mule waits in the shadows, ready to strike. The end of Empire is not the end of struggle, it's the beginning of something even more dangerous. While the fall of the Empire is shocking, the finale makes it clear that this collapse does not bring peace. Instead, it clears the path for a new power to rise. The Mule, his presence has been teased throughout the season, whispered like a storm on the horizon. In Episode 10, those whispers sharpen into something undeniable. The Mule is not just another warlord. He is a force unlike anything the galaxy has seen before. To understand what happens next, we need to look at who he is, what he wants. and why his emergence is far more terrifying than the fall of the Cleons. The Mule's power lies not in armies, fleets, or political alliances, but in something far more intimate, his ability to control the mind and emotions of others. This single gift makes him the most dangerous figure in the galaxy. Where the Empire ruled by fear and spectacle, the Mule rules by directly reshaping the will of individuals. In a universe built on systems, structures, and predictions, the Mule's presence is chaos incarnate. Hari Seldon's grand plan, the Seldon crisis, that shaped the very idea of the Foundation, never fully accounted for him. That alone makes the Mule terrifying. He is an anomaly, an exception, proof that even the most careful mathematics can stumble in the face of human unpredictability. What the finale shows us is that the Mule is not a distant threat anymore. He is moving pieces, testing the waters, preparing to strike at the weakened galaxy. The fall of the Empire provides him with the perfect opening. For centuries, the Cleons have claimed that they are eternal. Their collapse has created a vacuum, a silence of power across the stars. Into that silence, the Mule steps. And unlike the Empire, he doesn't need to inspire loyalty with symbols or clones. His influence comes from within the minds of others, making resistance nearly impossible. What makes the Mule such a compelling villain is that he isn't portrayed as a mindless conqueror. He is intelligent, calculating, and in many ways deeply human. His mutations, his gift of control, isolate him from others. He is feared, misunderstood, even hated for what he is. That sense of alienation fuels his hunger for dominance. He doesn't simply want power, he wants to be acknowledged, to be unstoppable, to reshape the galaxy in his own image. This gives his actions a tragic edge, even as they terrify. The Mule isn't only rising because he can. He's rising because he must, because to him, there is no other way to survive in a galaxy that would otherwise cast him aside. The finale also hints at how the Mule's rise will change the balance of every other faction in the story. For the Foundation, his presence threatens the fragile hope they've built. Hari Seldon's plan was never perfect, it was always built on probabilities, on the idea that humanity could be guided like currents in a river. But the Mule is not part of that river. He is a storm that reshapes the course entirely. For Gal and Salver, who have carried the weight of both the Foundation's hope and their own fractured destinies, the Mule represents a personal trial. They are not simply fighting for a plan anymore, they are fighting against the living nightmare that knows their weaknesses. What's chilling is how the Mule's methods mirror the fears of the people he targets. Unlike the Cleons, who demanded obedience through spectacle, the Mule can strip away choice altogether. Imagine living in a galaxy where your thoughts, your will, your very sense of self can be twisted by another. That is the horror he brings. And once people realize this, it will change how they respond to power forever. The question is not just whether he can be stopped, it's whether anyone can resist him long enough to try. As the credits roll on Season 3, the Mule's next move remains a shadow, a threat hanging over every character. The fall of the Empire, as massive as it was, feels almost like a prelude to something darker. Because the Empire fell under the weight of its own arrogance, but the Mule rises from something else, a determination that cannot be calculated, a hunger that cannot be satisfied, and a power that cannot be reasoned with. This is the brilliance of the finale structure. Just as the audience begins to process the end of one era, it plants the seed of the next. The galaxy is not entering a time of peace but stepping into a storm far worse than what came before. The Mule is more than a villain, he is the unknown variable, the one threat that defies every plan and prediction. And as Season 3 ends, the galaxy has no idea just how close his shadow truly is. Asterisk. The closing moments of Foundation Season 3 leave us with a galaxy in flux. The Cleonic dynasty, once the very symbol of order and stability, has collapsed, leaving behind a void of power. Into that void, new forces step forward, some hopeful, others terrifying. The Mule's shadow stretches wider. Hari Seldon's predictions wobble under the weight of unpredictability, and the Foundation stands on the edge of either salvation or destruction. Section 3 is about connecting these threads into one idea, The future of this galaxy is not written in stone. It is fractured, unstable, and filled with possibilities that no one can fully control. What the finale does brilliantly is remind us of the cost of change. The fall of the Empire is not a neat victory for the rebels, nor a simple disaster for those who served under Cleon. It's chaos. Planets that once relied on the Empire for resources, protection, or even just the illusion of stability are now left scrambling. Without a central power, old grudges rise, local wars begin, and trust becomes scarce. This breakdown in order is not a clean slate, it's a dangerous landscape, where survival will demand both intelligence and courage. For the Foundation, this chaos is both a gift and a curse. On one hand, they are no longer crushed under the heel of the Empire. On the other, they must now navigate a galaxy where any new power could rise and claim dominance, and one of those powers, the Mule, cannot be fought with ordinary strategies. Hari Seldon's vision of the future was always meant to reduce suffering, to shorten the dark age between empires. But the finale makes us question whether that vision can hold. The Mule's existence is a crack in the very foundation of the Seldon Plan. He cannot be predicted, cannot be contained by math. His arrival reminds us that history is not just about numbers and probabilities, it's about individuals, with all their flaws, desires, and unpredictabilities. This is one of the most important messages of the finale. No matter how advanced the system, no matter how carefully designed the plan, there will always be anomalies that defy control. The fall of Empire proves that no power is eternal, but the rise of the Mule proves that the next danger may be something no one prepared for. For characters like Gal and Salver, the path ahead is deeply personal. Their journeys have been tied to destiny, to the crushing weight of knowing the future while trying to live their own lives. The finale positions them as the galaxy's best hope against the Mule, not because they are flawless heroes, but because they embody choice. Where the Empire represented control and the Mule represents domination, Gal and Salver represent possibility. They are imperfect, they struggle, but they keep fighting for something greater than themselves. Their role in the future isn't just about defeating the Mule, it's about proving that human choice still matters in a galaxy of plans and powers. The fall of the Cleons also sets up the possibility of new alliances. Without the Empire to dominate, other factions will rise, worlds that seek independence, leaders who see opportunity in chaos, groups who might rally around the Foundation or resist it. The finale hints that Season 4 will be less about one empire dominating all and more about a fractured galaxy where multiple powers compete. This opens up the story for greater complexity, but also greater danger. In a way, the fall of Empire was the easy part. The challenge now is building something new that can last, visually and thematically. The finale lingers on imagery of endings and beginnings. The throne of Cleon crumbles, but the spark of rebellion grows brighter. The Mule's shadow looms, but hope remains alive in the stubborn will of those who resist him. This duality, destruction paired with rebirth, is the heartbeat of the series. It asks us as viewers to think not just about who holds power, but about the cost of power itself. If the Empire fell because of arrogance and the Mule rises through fear, then what kind of power is worth building? What kind of future should humanity aim for? By the time the credits roll, one thing is certain: the galaxy we knew is gone. The next chapter will not be about holding on to what once was, but about confronting what comes next. Season 4 promises not just battles and politics, but deeper questions about identity, choice, and survival. Who will resist the Mule? Can the Foundation stay true to Hari's dream? Will humanity find unity in chaos, or will it sink deeper into darkness? These questions hang in the air like stars in the void distant, yet pulling us forward. The genius of the finale lies in its refusal to give us easy answers. Instead, it leaves us with the sense that the story is only beginning. The Empire has fallen, the Mule is rising, and the galaxy is entering its most uncertain age yet. The future is fragile, unpredictable, and wide open, and that is what makes it so thrilling. The ending of Foundation Season 3 does more than close one chapter. It throws open 1,000 doors to the unknown. the Empire's downfall, the Mule's rise, and the fragility of Hari Seldon's plan all collide in a way that leaves us both satisfied and unsettled. And that's exactly what great storytelling should do. It should leave us asking questions, building theories, and wondering not just what comes next, but what it all means. This section is about stepping back from the chaos of the finale to reflect on the deeper ideas at play, while also exploring the many theories the audience is already piecing together. First, let's talk about the meaning of the Empire's fall. On the surface, it's the dramatic end of a dynasty, the destruction of a political order that claimed to last forever. But beneath that spectacle, the fall represents something more universal, the end of blind belief in authority. For centuries, entire worlds bowed to the Cleons because they appeared eternal, unshakable, and godlike. By showing us their weakness, the finale doesn't just topple rulers, it topples an idea. That's why the fall hits so hard. It forces us to confront a timeless truth. No system, no matter how strong, is immune to change. This message doesn't only apply to the fictional galaxy of Foundation. It echoes through our own history, reminding us that every empire, every power, eventually faces its breaking point. Then there's the Mule. His shadow across the finale sparks endless speculation. Is he simply a tyrant with extraordinary gifts, or is he the symbol of something deeper? One popular theory suggests that the Mule isn't just a villain, but a mirror to Hari Seldon himself. Where Hari represents control through logic and mathematics, the Mule represents control through raw emotion. They are opposites, two visions of how the future can be shaped. If that's true, then the story ahead may not just be about good versus evil, but about two philosophies battling for the soul of humanity, reason versus passion, probability versus unpredictability. The finale sets the stage for that clash. And it's hard not to wonder if the Mule's very existence is what forces the Foundation to evolve beyond Seldon's rigid plan. Another rich area for theories lies with Gal and Salver. Their connection to the Mule has already been teased, but what does it really mean? Some fans speculate that Gal's precognitive abilities and Salver's instinctive leadership might be the keys to resisting the Mule's control. Unlike numbers or armies, they bring something more human into the fight: intuition, empathy, and love. Could their bond be the one variable even the Mule cannot corrupt? Or is their destiny darker, perhaps tied to the Mule in ways even Hari Seldon didn't predict? The finale doesn't answer these questions. It carefully leaves them dangling, fueling speculation for what comes next. And what about Hari himself? Though we've seen him die more than once, his digital consciousness continues to shape events from beyond the grave. But can even Hari's wisdom adapt to the chaos the Mule represents? One theory suggests that Hari has foreseen the Mule all along, but chose not to reveal it in order to push humanity beyond dependence on his plan. If that's true, then the fall of the Empire and the rise of the Mule are not just accidents, they're deliberate steps in forcing humanity to take responsibility for its own survival. Whether that theory holds or not, the finale forces us to question how much of this is fate and how much is choice. Thematically, the ending also pushes us to reflect on the role of belief. The Empire fell when people stopped believing in its power. The Mule thrives by twisting belief into submission. The Foundation survives because it offers belief in something greater, the possibility of a better future. The battle ahead, then, is not just about ships and armies. It's about whose vision of the future people will choose to follow. That's a profound question, and one that echoes far beyond the show itself for the audience. This opens up an entire universe of theories. Will the Foundation fracture under pressure, or will it evolve into something Hari never imagined? Could the Mule actually succeed in rewriting history, creating a galaxy ruled not by probability but by his will? Is there another threat lurking beyond both the Empire and the Mule, one that we have only seen in glimpses? These are the kinds of questions that make Foundation so compelling. It's not just telling a story, it's inviting us to imagine its future. In the end, the finale of Season 3 leaves us with both closure and curiosity. The Empire is gone. The Mule is here. The Foundation stands at a crossroads. And we, as the audience, are left to wonder, What happens when destiny collides with free will, when probability meets anomaly, when the old world falls and a new one struggles to rise? The beauty of this ending is that it doesn't let us sit comfortably. It pushes us to keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep theorizing. Because in a galaxy as vast and unpredictable as this one, the story is never really over, it's only waiting for the next chapter to begin.